She will be donated whether she likes it or not.
Thanks.
Right. That's funny.
God, it could come down to all the relatives, fighting over lungs. I got the eyes, now you got the lungs. What are you talking about?
Right.
It's crazy. They could really could. You could leave your organs to very
Yeah.
bizarre. Stop it, Beth. Stop it.
Well, it's, the traditional fights after death are for things. The car, the silver, the whatever, the heirlooms.
I'll tell you what, if I'm blind, there's nothing more thingy to me than somebody else's good functioning eyes.
That's right. That's right.
That's a thing.
We're up and running.
Could you tell me your name and what you do?
My name is Pat Thompson, and I am a homemaker. I was a school secretary, but I'm no longer because I am suffering with lung disease, and so now I am home.
Okay.
Look at him. Don't worry about the camera.
Yeah,
Okay.
you and me. Or you on the camera. And you live where?
I live in Plymouth Meeting.
Describe to me what kind of life you lived, and you can begin with a sense before my disease, like good way.
Oh, before my disease, I was very active. I have 3 children, and I worked for 10 years in an elementary school as a school secretary as they were growing up, and that was I was here, there, and everywhere, and I took it for granted. I think we always take our health for granted when we have it, and I loved my job. Pulling teeth and fixing hurts and wounds and rescuing moms whose children were lost, whatever. But I cooked meals and, ran the house, did the dry cleaning and filled my tank with gas and was very, very active, involved in several community organizations. And gradually that world began to diminish as my lung disease got, made itself known.
How did it make itself known?
I just began to be more and more short of breath. It began to be harder to, especially at my job, to keep up with little people. This is an elementary building.
Did you at first assume this is just the price of getting wiser?
No, I knew that I had this lung disease. I had quit smoking 14 years ago, and my particular lung disease is a genetic deficiency. It is emphysema, COPD, but it's caused by an at-birth enzyme was missing, and so I was pointed towards possible lung problems way down the road. I did not know that. The test for that only became available about 2 years before I quit smoking. Smoking was a disaster for me nobody knew. This information was unavailable when I was a young person. However, having quit smoking, and at that time it was the best thing that I could do for myself. But I was able to continue to be active for at least 10 more years after that. But I did know that I was headed towards pulmonary complications.
Describe to me the day that you finally found out what was going on.
Well, the day that I really knew what was, when I left in 1989, I really came to terms with it. I was having a great deal of difficulty keeping up with the children at school. So I decided to take a leave of absence, and I went down to the University of Pennsylvania, Hospital of University of Pennsylvania, for another consultation to see if there was anything else that I could do or to get another whole evaluation. And by that time, there was a new enzyme, an artificial enzyme being produced, which I was advised to take. I take that once a week as an infusion here in my home. And I was advised to use oxygen 24 hours a day. And I never was able to go back to the school. In that year, I had to make that decision that my health was deteriorated enough that I was not going to be able to go back and serve at that job in the activity that was required. So I took a disability retirement from the school district. And then just from that point on, attempted to keep busy. I enrolled in a respiratory therapy rehabilitation program up here in Montgomery Hospital in Norristown. And they monitor you, and I rode bicycles and walked on a treadmill. And I tried to do as many things as I could do to keep life as normal as possible.
And you were how old? At
that point, I was 49 years old. And then in this last 2 years, that has just, my ability to do those things has just diminished even more.
The lowest point, you figured the prognosis, your future was what?
Was last summer. I had had a major illness, a bronchitis, and I went back into Penn. I used to go about every 3 months just to be checked, and I had lost weight, and I was having severe difficulty just keeping up. If I did something, any kind of an activity, it would take me 2 or 3 days of rest to be able to have enough energy to get up and do something, again. And so that was a psychologically, spiritually, physically, a very low point, because I was having to face the reality of this was for real, and it wasn't going away, and it was just getting worse. I had always continued to do, as much as I could do for myself, but that was no longer. I was losing my grip on what I could do for myself, and that was a very low point, because I think everybody, when you have that some sense of control over your personal affairs and your personal life, you can manage. When you begin to lose that, it's very scary.
So you saw no light at the end of the tunnel?
None.
What changed that?
Well, Dr. Hansen flashed and said, "How would you like a lung?" And I thought he was kidding. I really did think he was kidding. I had sort of heard about lung transplantation, but not a lot. And he was dead serious. And I think I just did a are you, when he made that comment to me, and he said, "No, I'm very serious." So he gave me all the information and what was happening, told me that Dr. Kaiser was coming to Penn, thought that I would be a good candidate for a lung, and it was one of those wonderful, terrible moments in your life. It's kind of too good to be true and scarier than scary. Terrified that they would call me, and terrified they wouldn't. So I went in for an evaluation, made the decision that I would go in for an evaluation, and then it takes time to do that. But I was evaluated last January. That was August that I saw him, and I was ultimately evaluated in January. And by then they had done 2 surgeries. I was listed in February of 1992.
What did it feel like to see your name on that list?
It felt good, and it felt scary. But it's for me, I guess it's a chance. It's a chance. It's a chance to see my children have careers and marry and to be a grandmother. And I don't see that I will have that chance without this.
When you met your first lung transplant patient post-op, describe it to me.
Oh, it was just awesome. I was, it's almost beyond words. The thing that I remember the most when I talked to Barbara Leadham, she had been to one of our meetings, and by the time she came back, she had her new lung, and she was describing her therapy and whatever, and going home. And the next time I saw her, she'd had her hair cut, and she was making plans for going back to Florida. And I can remember saying to her, "Well, how will you get from, the apron where they leave you off at the airport all the way out to the airplane? To me, that's an impossible task. I would have to go in a wheelchair, or someone would have to assist me. I could not walk that far. And she looked at me and she grinned and she said, "Well, Pat, I'm going to walk." And I just thought, wow, it's just as simple as that. And she did. They left her out in front and she walked to her, all the way out to her plane.
What for you, let's say they do the operation and it works, what for you is the prognosis?
The prognosis is very good. I guess I, like probably an awful lot of us who are waiting for this chance, I think that we all kind of feel as if we just can get there, we feel like we can do it. We will be okay.
Just let me catch this.
Just let me catch this last plane out of here. I really do feel that way. It gets terribly scary sometimes, because the illness has become rather debilitating now. It's uncomfortable, very isolating. Even up to this fall, I was still driving my car, and now I have to have assistance. And so it gets that little bit of, little less, in control of my life.
Your elation upon discovering that you did have a chance that you did not think you had, and then upon meeting the person who benefited from that, what was it like to discover that there wasn't a whole lot of product out there?
That's disheartening.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was. I didn't know that much about it, to be very honest. From the time that Dr. Hansen Flaschen said to me, "How would you like a lung?" And I thought, "You're kidding." And then I began to gather information, and I was evaluated, and I began to talk to other people. I even made a contact with a gal in California who is now almost a year and a half out from having a new lung, and she has my same disease. She was operated on in the University of California, San Diego. We've corresponded a couple times. She's been wonderful. But it is to learn that there's still an awful lot of people that die waiting. And so you just have to hope that you're going to be the one that catches the brass ring. There really isn't any other way to live your life.
What would you want people out there who are listening to this to know?
Oh, I would want them to know that if a trauma occurred in their family, to please, donate organs. To try to educate all those around them, in their families, in their schools, in their churches, their synagogues, wherever, that organ donation is a very, very viable option now, medically speaking, but I think it's not happening nearly enough because people don't understand. So I would just say, from my standpoint, I would want them to, be willing to donate that organ.
Way back when you were breathing fairly regularly and smoking cigarettes,
Right.
If someone had come up to you and said, "How about signing an organ donor card?" What would have been your reaction?
Oh, I would have signed one. I did. I guess that was always something that I lost my parents when I was fairly young, and that was really before a lot of this became, such an option. I don't know why. I just know that I had signed a donor card a long, long, long time ago. What I didn't understand, and now do understand, is that unless your family, your loved ones, are in sympathy with what you want to do, it's very possible that you may have signed an organ donor card, and they can, at the time of a trauma, say, "We don't want to have his or her organs donated," and that's tough.
Do you see much explanation out there in the media, in the press, talking about this?
No, not a real lot. There's been more than I guess. I'll take that back. There's been more. It's coming. There have been articles in the paper, there have been articles in magazines, but it's not, I don't think it's enough to have people know, what's really happening.
Maybe Jim Gardner needed along.
Yeah, right. There you go, if Jim Gardner needed along.
Let me change it.
I think it's
Involves
because
thinking about
it involves, yes,
Yeah.
it involves thinking about their own mortality.
Yeah.
And people don't like to look at that or think about that.
No.
Okay.
You were saying perhaps the problem is that people just don't like to.
I think people don't like to examine their own mortality. And when you talk about organ donation and all of this transplantation and what it means and what it can do, and for someone like me, it's exciting. I've just seen all kinds of evidence of, terrific things happening. But the people, the organs just are not being donated, and I think probably because, in large measure, it means people have to examine their own mortality. And the truth is, if they haven't thought about that before a trauma occurs, it's a terrible time to begin to think about it. And so sadly, what often happens is that the organs never get donated.
And it's a terrible time to have to ask.
That's right. That's right.
What do you have any immediate plans post-operation once you're...
Oh boy. We've talked about that. I don't know what I want to do first. Travel. First thing I think I would do is just walk around my neighborhood. Walk without an oxygen tank. But beyond that, just to be able to go someplace again, to fly, to visit friends, to whatever.
What has kept you going? We understood from talking with Dave that you can't do it alone.
No.
What has kept you going through this?
Well, my family, my friends, my own spirituality, I guess. These people like Barbara, who got along, Shirley out in California, who got along, a tremendous amount of support from the people at Penn. They're very, very supportive, and very upbeat. It's not grim. We giggle an awful lot when we go to our support group meetings, which is good.
How important are the support group meetings?
I think they're very important.
Was it a shock for you when you first walked in there to see folks like yourself?
No, it was a comfort. It was a comfort. It was a shock to me when I was still in that place where I wasn't ready to acknowledge how sick I was. I saw a young woman on a beach maybe 4 years ago with a nasal cannula on, and it made me very uncomfortable. But by 4 years later, when I have accepted what's happened with me and what the possibilities are, seeing others like me it was very comfortable. And it's a place to cry, and it's a place to laugh. We make fun of each other and have an awful lot of fun.
Place to keep on going.
Yes, it's a place to keep on going from.
How difficult has it been physically for you to do this interview?
Oh, not at all. For me, right.
Why do you want to have this story told? Why did you agree to have your story told on TV?
Oh.
Aside from further impeachment.
I wanted to, in any way possible, expand on the possibility of having people see who I am, know I'm just an ordinary gal who wants a chance, who would like another chance.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think that's just about all there is to it. It's a wonderful, terrible place to be, and I wanted to tell my story. Angela asked me a long time ago, just because if it would help make people understand what it is and what I'm dealing with, and what organ donation means to people like me, there's every bit as much possibility, probably more possibility, that I will die waiting for that long. But at the same time, I could be that lucky person and, you know, be the girl like Barbara walking to the airplane, playing golf.
Have you seen her on videotape doing this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
It's awesome.
She's your friend in California?
Yeah,
That must have been wonderful for you to see
it
that.
is. It is.
You must jump every time the phone rings.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have a bag packed all the time?
Yes. I'm ready. I am. I have a beeper and I'm ready whenever. And every time the phone does ring, in fact, the immediate response is, "Oh, I hope it is. I hope it isn't."
It literally could happen at any time.
Anytime.
Where are you on the list?
Well, I was number 9 when they were listing them. I think there's 32 people on the list now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You don't mind if they call you in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner?
No, no. I don't mind if they call me anytime. I'm ready.
I think we asked, is there anything else you'd like to add? Son? Thank you very much. Yes, you did want to say something.
No, I have nothing else. I'm done.
Thank you very much.
I'm missing too.
What's the first picture there?
Huh? That's you. When you had red hair. Imagine that. Briefly, you had red hair. Mm-hmm. Look at this. Those are the healthy days. My Lord, did we hike through that was that natural bridge in Virginia.
So, could you stick on that picture for just a second? I want to zoom in and see what you're talking about.
I think I was too small to remember that.
We hiked through Natural Bridge. Chased all these kids, and these are Easter eggs.
Whose legs am I riding?
Daddy. Daddy was making no, that's Grandma, I think. That looks like Grandma feet. We had Easter egg hunt in the backyard. Uncle Hank hid all the eggs. You were a hobo. Get all that snow.
Did you sail?
Yeah.
You ran the whole boat?
Yeah. I had my hand on the tiller.
Oh.
I wasn't exactly. That was pretty neat. Speaking of birthdays.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
That was cool.
No, not a single one of them was in the same tune. That's
We went to the Grand Canyon. Remember? We petted the orca. Shamu.
That's a good picture.
You like the candle? Right. There's the turkey. Every year we had to show the turkey before we could eat the damn thing. Those are good pictures.
Oh, I didn't know there was a
Do
picture.
you know we went to the Vietnam Memorial?
I remember we were there. I just didn't know there was a picture of it in here.
I was shocked at my response. I cried.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing feeling to just stand there. It's a huge thing. And look at all those names. What's this? That's your dad.
Who's behind him?
That's his grandfather.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
This is
Grandpa, Dad.
Grandpa, Dad, he and his father.
His father.
Right, your great grandfather. This is one of, what, 15 Thanksgivings in Washington.
Was that a Thanksgiving?
Hmm?
I just remember I wanted to eat one. Young kids.
Okay. Yeah, just flip on through for me.
Cats and Jim's babies. The family. Mm-hmm. Peter.
Peter, is that you and Dre?
No, that's my brother.
Brother. Pam's monkey. Oh, that's funny. Some of these didn't come out very well.
Where's the ducks? Where's that up there?
That's at Grandma's place. Remember she used to always take you to feed the ducks?
Hmm.
You pestered her to death.
Me?
Grandma. Yeah, right. Grandma. This is Grand Canyon. That was that natural slide. Remember you all went down your butts?
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Out in Arizona. The turkey.
Now, what birthday is that you're...